I'm in the lab, we ain't on bag. I'm talking that rich shit, do the math. I don't go to mass, I put on a mask. My last experiment ended bad. I knew what I had and it was some gas. I went to the garden with the hash, puff up pass, and then I had to get my ass back in the lab. We just hit 1500 franking and it make a lot of sense. And punks I'm gonna be staking and they make a lot of sense. It's to the moon, there's no debating that these diamonds in my hands, dog. Please give me a chance, dog. Please give me a chance. Shit undisputed, yeah, we poppin', we gon' get this lit. This is what we do, I'm with the crew, we not gon' flip this shit. We been going crazy in the lab, we so insidious. Watch me get my pump, Frankin' on my bucket list, my Frankin' gonna pump. You could double if you dumpin' in it, we gon' run it up. Saw this project, now we stuck up in it. Yeah, we got 4 crypto punks from Lava Labs, it's obvious there's profit in it. Probably gonna take off on a rocket ship, I'm hopping. I wish I had Elizabeth to myself, I know she bad. You can catch me in the metaverse and now we all gonna dance. We got something, it's ain't lucky, it's all according to plan. I've been running for a minute, stop, pass that shit to Dan.
Hey, pass that shit to Dan. Bitch, I grabbed that shit and ran, doing damage to a dam. They ain't ready for our plans. Blicky here with Dan, like it's Goku and Gohan. Us, we going ham, looking at you, you Peter Pan. GM to my Franken gang. No doubt, we bout to break the game. Running laps on them, tell me what else can I say? You heard my story, put my ledger in the grave. They can't wait, Franken tape, music through the blockchain. Fuck you, pay me, on delay. We here to stay, they bout to ride a wave. These bars hit your brain like a fucking lobotomy. Bitch, I went insane, now I'm chillin' where the monsters be. I've been through some things, type of pain that you hardly see. We've been moving profits, man, we've been mooning properly. On top, forever, probably. Drop top, in good weather, you can't bother me. Taught myself the game, none of y'all can father me. I'm rightfully arrogant, beg my pardon, G. Good, Frankie gang. What up, Willius? Rags, good to see you, man. Bobby, what up? Diamond Dog, yo, what up? Don Frisco, what up? Good morning. Oh, how's it going, everybody?
We too early like birds, getting in those worms and you nerds hating, just curve them, they flooding, they just some vermin. Can't handle us, you too nervous, it's cause you ain't got no purpose. Yeah, check it. NFT's super sexy, man, it always lures me. I'm too focused and you know you'll never ever deter me. Crypto astronaut, DJ moving so hazardous. Crypto, but I gon' dabble, open seas like chapel, yeah. Chasing 100 X's, my ex, she been getting jealous. The man she's with like a peasant if you comparing me. I had to give you up, girl, for my legacy. I'm so grateful for my 3D Franken family. 3D Franken family. For my 3D Franken family. For my, check it. Ned, get the champagne. Hey, yo, Dan, let it rain. Real recognize real, know what I'm saying? Wait, hold up, Super Saiyan. Pop power level, 100K. Yeah, fractionalize that punk. Yeah, 4 volts, keep them safe. More sauce for the sake of it. Your eardrums getting blessed. Free meal, cousin. How you do it so smooth, like you stealing dozens? Right under your nose, you ain't seeing nothing. Bro, long time coming. Long nights in the basement, I'm not the something. Snitching about your problems will get you nothing. Start stitching up your life. Are you building something, homie? Have you written something, or you simply bluffing? Huh? Talk is cheap. You won't hear a peep from me unless I'm on the beat. Walking through the city streets, the 6 right over me. I've been doing I've been going crazy, man. Cut it.
Smash that like button, indeed. What's good, everybody?
Ain't it clear I'm the revenant? Bring the guillotine, let's get beheading them. Nah, can't compare to them. I'm a one-on-one, bitch, it's evident. Put up the tape, gave him my soul, the gold, the gems in one letter, yeah. Feeling like Letterman. This is for my freaking veterans. This is for popping the bottles behind us and rightfully arrogant. Yeah, rightfully arrogant, bitch. Rightfully arrogant, rightfully back in the booth, about to tear this shit. Rightfully project on moon when they hear the shit. Rightfully goats, rightfully chose for the throne. Rightfully fucking the game from the minute I spoke. Shit was just destined to blow. Riding, I'm rapping the code, and I'm here with my bros. Out in the 6 got me frozen down to my fucking bones. Doing this shit till I'm ghost. I do it for Gassy, I do it for Ghost, I do it for Ice, and I do it for Mose. Do it for Ned, do it for Jed, for Dan and Zenj. I'm talking that Banklin, Licky and Kurt, put it in work. We hit him like Otis from back when. Yeah, so much growth been coming in rapid. Shake up the game, we've been looking like Rapture. Pokemon, and you know you can't catch this. Dr. Eat, I treat him like Pastor. Dr. Eat, I'm in need of that power. He got me locked at the top of the tower. Liz the beach, she smelling like flowers. I'm kinda jealous of Doc, how you found her? Uncle John. We just been moving like Genghis Khan. Dr. Eat he never run. Now I'm writing blue chip songs. All organic on the Twitter, no gimmicks. Tell these bottles goodbye and good riddance. Ride or die for all Frankens, we with it. I'm crossing the line today. That means I'm about to jump wicked. Ain't it clear I'm the revenant? Bring the guillotine, let's get beheading them. Nah, can't compare to them. I'm a one-on-one, bitch, it's evident. Put out the tape, gave him my soul, the gold, the gems in one letter, yeah. Feeling like Letterman. This is for my freaking veterans. This is for popping the bottles behind us and rightfully arrogant. Yeah, rightfully arrogant, bitch. Rightfully arrogant. Rightfully arrogant. This is for my freaking veterans. Yeah, we rightfully arrogant.
On the road. Oh, it just snapped out. 1 second, people. How's it going? How we doing, everybody? You can see my my green screen just bugged out for a second. That's interesting. We got a jam-packed show for you today. It's going to be real juicy. Okay. We're going to be talking about what's been going on in the market past couple of weeks. A lot has been going on. What? An error occurred? Wait a moment. Try again. Try refreshing your page. Interesting. Okay. That's weird. Was working perfectly. Now my green screen just died. I have no idea why. See if I can get it back. Bingo. Aha. That's what I wanted. You know, we're out here in the swamp. Alrighty. We got a jam-packed show today. A jam-packed show. I've got a lot to go over. This is our first new segment of the first new shows, the weekly, the weekend shows. I polled you guys. I did a poll on the server, and it turns out that we wanted something that's more so on the weekends, aimed at the evening time for everybody's corresponding time zone. So this first show, mainly talking about the markets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, fiscal policies, just breaking news, a bit of TA, a bit of fundamental stuff, and just looking at what some of the experts are saying themselves, and kind of getting a look at the narrative of the space. You know, what are the headlines? What are the causes? You know, what are the things that are going on, and where is the liquidity? How is the market makers moving? Things like that. I just want to bring you guys as much value as I can with this. Tomorrow will be the NFT stream. Okay, tomorrow we'll be going hard on NFTs, metaverse, and then Sunday we'll have our artist spotlight where we'll be showcasing the talent here in Punksville, our holders, and going over Franken updates, community updates, things that are about the project specifically, and all that good jazz. So, man, Bitcoin. We've been on quite the roller coaster, haven't we? Here is you've probably seen this chart like a million places, right? I just basically did the exact same thing that you've seen. We've been on this downtrend for what is it, 3 months now, 90 days roughly. Hey, thanks, man. We've been on this downtrend for roughly what is it, from November. We hit that high of 69k Bitcoin, a truly glorious number. From early November all the way down, we hit about a bottom here at 33k just roughly a month ago. So it's been a pretty rough downtrend. Now, it's quite clear that we've been forming this downtrend. You see this line here where Bitcoin goes and tackles it, gets rejected, falls down, goes and hits it, gets rejected, falls down, hits it, gets rejected, falls down. And now we have finally broken out of this trend line. We broke out back just several weeks back. This is when, Bitcoin went green. We hit the mid 40s, got rejected, and then we're coming back, and we've retested it. We've actually perfectly retested it, smacked it right here back in those low 40s, and we've bounced. We had an insane pump, like a 10% rally up to 40, and now it looks like the momentum has been changing purely from analyzing this trend line in the breaking and testing of it. So far, things are looking good, even though we've been in extreme fear. A quick glance at fear and greed. We've been in extreme fear for quite a bit now. Even still, the market is not very happy with this movement. We've been in this for a while. Take a look at up here. Take a look at this. If we look at the fear and greed index, the last time we were in these zones was in March of 2020 when the pandemic hit. Then in the May dumps, we were in like the 20 of fear, extreme fear, extreme fear, extreme fear. We had a bounce. We hit an even lower level, like 13 at some point. Yeah, 11. Extreme, like super, super fearful. We had that bounce. People got a little happier, and now we're back into the fear. So it can't stay in one direction forever. Now, albeit it's not like a linear thing. Just because it's an extreme fear doesn't mean it's going to bounce out of it. We had a bounce out, and then we came back and tested it. So things have been bearish for a while. The market sentiment has been pretty damn negative, right? So what's going to happen? Is Bitcoin going to break up? Is Bitcoin going to break down? Are we going to move sideways for a while? What is the market telling us? I'm going to be going through all that lovely stuff today so we get a good idea. A lot of us, our portfolios are very crypto heavy. We're degens. I know you care. I know you've been feeling the blood. We've all been feeling the blood. So I think we could use a little bit of just a little bit of relief, a little bit of clarity on what's going on. Mind you, when I talk about the news today, especially with the Russia and Ukraine stuff, it's really sad stuff. It's not something like I wish none of this was happening. Take a look at this. A lot of the able-bodied men are not being allowed to leave Ukraine. And this is a video of a father, saying goodbye to his child and his wife, and it's just so heartbreaking. Like, this is just the sad realities of war. All markets aside, all that stuff aside, it's disgusting. Like, it's so sad, man. horrible. So sad. It's very painful for anybody who has family, or if you're a father or mother, you know how painful this can be. Just really heartbreaking, man. It's really heartbreaking stuff. So, you know, yes, there can be there might be some opportunities in the market throughout this chaos, but it's not something that I'm celebrating and not something I want to celebrate. Screw war. It's just horrible. I would much rather have everything just be as peaceful as possible and not have any war and have the markets be super boring. Screw the markets, screw the money. Like this is invaluable. You can't put a price on people's lives. It's a tragedy. It's unfortunate. It's been going on for a while. We've been in these proxy wars for a while. We'll get it. I'll get into what I think may be happening. I don't think we'll go to a full on like World War III, but we're just speculating here on the possibilities. And also it's on another note, I think it's kind of funny. The past 2 years, everyone was a health expert, right? Everyone is a health expert coming online to telling their opinions on health and what we should do with our bodies and whatnot and what we shouldn't do. And now everyone's turning into a fiscal policy expert and, shaming Russia, this is that. Keep in mind, like, we don't really know what's going on. No, like, I'm not an expert. I'm not here. I'm not here to do that. It's just my opinion, just a bit of speculation of what I think is going on. And, we're no better if we're, talking from the U.S. standpoint with the Afghanistan wars and this is that, literally we're no better. So keep that in mind. Be impartial. Anyways, that being said, those disclaimers aside, once again, nothing I say here today is financial advice. Let's get into the bulk of it. Oh, before that though, our alpha group is popping. We've got some amazing proposals in our Discord. If you're a holder, you have access to this section. We've been putting together our team, Scully and Ojo, putting together some beautiful breakdowns. Let me show you this. Some beautiful breakdowns of some projects that they're researching. Here's one on Sheet Fighter. You can see it's just really well put together. This is like half of the analysis I'm showing you here, but it's just a top level breakdown on potentially hidden gems out in the NFT space. So projects that are kind of just chilling, that have like a lot of really good utility and fundamentals. We've got people working around the clock, find that stuff for you guys. And it's just there for our holders to do their own research. And there's a deeper analysis there. Check the spotlights in the alpha section, but we've also got really incredible stuff like, let me show you here. We have wallet trackers. Check this out. We have, let me pull this over here. We've got like wallet trackers. So when there's like people buying and selling, you get notifications for it. Mint alerts that are going on, drop calendar. We have our whitelist raffles. What was it? A sweep alert, which is really great. You get alerted on the address, how much do they spend on what project. Just really, really good intel, resources that you'd commonly, like IC tools and all this other stuff that you'd commonly pay like several $100s a month for, if not more, is just available for you here in the, it's just available for you here in our Discord as a holder. So make use of it. Take a look at it. Really great stuff going on there. You know what I'm saying? Oh, really? Just videos out of sync with your audio. True. Next write out will be out tonight or tomorrow. Let's go. Love to hear that. 1 second. Unexpected technical errors. What can you do? What can you do? I'm just trying to get with the flow. Yeah, exactly, Cracker Jack. Screw it. Bigger matters at hand. Absolutely. Now, that being said, the line in the sand is we're still here. We still are. We have our portfolios. We want some idea of what's going on, regardless. So, that being said, I think that caveat I mentioned in the beginning is important. So let's just gracefully talk about these things. All right. It's in sync. Okay, cool. Lovely. All right, moving on. So there's been a couple of narratives. Let me rewind. Back in November when we hit these highs, okay, people were calling, the ETFs were going on, so much bullish momentum. And then the Evergrande debt crisis in China began, where people were worried about like one of the biggest housing markets in the world is about to default on their debt. And that would have caused a cascade of just a total market collapse across the whole world, because that the people who are offering credit to China are not just the Chinese, it's a global thing. It's people all across the world. It's expanding into Europe, Asia, and into the US. So there was a huge fear around that. The market slowly began its collapse here when we had this first big correction. There was a lot of fear regarding that. And then after this, we kind of started having that narrative of the Fed talking about inflation. Inflation's a problem. We need to lower interest rates. And you understand what happens with that. When interest rates increase, people cannot just take on massive amounts of debt for free. It actually flippens where you kind of have to now start honoring your debt, paying it back, perhaps, higher interest that you have to pay back on that debt. Money is not just so free and so cheap to just, borrow and lend to throw into the asset classes. So we saw people kind of becoming risk off, selling off, like the stock, basically the exact moves in the stock market. Check out the SPX. Look at this. We saw back in November, look exactly, we're literally following the stock market. November fell, right? In November, what did Bitcoin do in November? Well, this is in October, but we also had that sell-off, exactly with the stock market. And then we broke this little trend we were on since March. A lot of people are drawing this line. Like, what is it? Like this? Like, hold up. We finally broke this trend, cracked it. And so the speculation is we're in for a pretty volatile, maybe a couple weeks or months with the stock market. And Bitcoin is literally just tracing it. It's just being traded like a tech stock. At the end of the day, that's how it's being treated. So a lot of similar moves with the S&P, with the NASDAQ right now, even with its recovery. It's once again following the NASDAQ and just tracing it. Maybe at some point we can see a decoupling, but right now it's important to take that into consideration. So interest rate hikes. Oh no, everyone's freaking out. Mass sell-offs in the tech. You may not see Apple and Google having a massive sell-off, but for instance, take a look at Shopify. Let me find Shopify. Look at the sell-off we've had in Shopify. Look at this, a brutal correction. So even though the big stocks are not dumping, Shopify literally just did a 60% crash, right? Bitcoin has been down roughly 45-50%, and Shopify just plummeting. So this is real. People are pricing in the risk, the amount of risk going on with Russia, Ukraine now, but also the fiscal policy with the Fed. But here's when it gets interesting. Okay, follow me here for just a second. Here's where it gets interesting. Listen to Biden's response on Ukraine and Russia. This was 3 days ago. Sorry. Listen to this.
None of us will be fooled. There is no justification. Further Russian assault in Ukraine remains a severe threat in the days ahead. And if Russia proceeds, it is Russia and Russia alone that bears the responsibility. As we respond, my administration is using every tool at our disposal to protect American businesses and consumers from rising prices at the pump. As I said last week, defending freedom will have cost for us as well and here at home. We need to be honest about that. But as we do this, I'm going to take robust action to make sure the pain of our sanctions is targeted at the Russian economy, not ours. We're closely monitoring energy supplies for any disruption. We're executing a plan in coordination with major oil-producing consumers and producers toward a collective...
Okay, so key things there. Key things there. All right. What did Biden say? He said, protecting freedom has its costs. We're going to do everything we can to combat the inflation and the prices at the pumps. All right. Key couple things there. All right. Hold that for a second. Hold that for just a second. Listen to this, okay? Take a look at this headline. Let me find it. Where is it? One sec. Where did she go? Where did she go? 1 second. I'll find it. Okay. So far, Biden has basically been saying, yo, we need to combat inflation. We need to really lock this down. This is what the American people care about, right? That has been something of great importance. Now he goes on live TV. He's like, yo, tensions are going on. Prices are increasing at the pump. We're going to put sanctions on Russia, even though Russia has like massive stockpiles of commodities and oil and gold, which are at all-time highs. So they could care less about the sanctions. The sanctions aren't going to really do anything. That's something to keep in mind. Now, this narrative of like, we need to tighten, we need to calm down, is starting to shift. Okay. And you can see that narrative changing with things like this. There is a CBC headline. Check this out. All right, I found it. Check this out. You guys are gonna, oh my, look at this. Sorry, CBS News. The U.S. economy has been hit with increased gas prices, inflation, and supply chain issues due to the Ukraine crisis. What? Are you serious? Look what the mainstream's telling us. Due to the Ukraine crisis, bro, inflation has begun back in 2020 when that money printer went burr. When the money printer went burr, it's a global thing, but the US has been playing straight into it. Look, if you just type in M2 money supply, look how fast you can find it. Show me the M2 money supply. Oh, shit. M2 supply. Let me see if I can find it for you all really quick. And then plan to show the M2. Okay, boom. This is the amount of money in circulation and how much printing has been going on in the US. And it went 2020, we actually tapered off. And then look, it's just been sky high. It's not because of this, guys. It's because of the tensions in Ukraine. But it's important to note that, because if they can use this narrative and blame inflation on tensions and war, and then be like, yo, it's this outside factor, and we're going to intervene and do what we can, blah, blah, blah. We're kind of creating a situation where the fiscal policy can become more irresponsible, essentially. And perhaps, this is my speculation, this is not necessarily going to happen, but my speculation is perhaps this situation will be a scapegoat to money print all over again. Such a stupid narrative everyone is buying because the American people are naive. It's ridiculous. This is not true. I mean, sure, maybe we could say for some commodities, absolutely. But the fact is, before these tensions, like, inflation was, dude, everyone was like complaining about inflation like a year back before any of this was like really going on. So that that this narrative is starting to change and shift. And there's a Fed meeting in 2 weeks. Okay. There's a Fed meeting in 2 weeks. They're going to sit down and they're going to be like, damn, we said that we're going to have 8 interest. I don't know. They said 7 hikes, 8 hikes, like a ton of hikes to really tighten and would basically totally slow down the economy, which is good for the dollar. It strengthens the dollar. However, when we have the markets selling off, the markets basically going into an induced recession, we have a bad situation of we'll have less employment, there'll be less money to go around, and then we're back in square one where it's like, oh, well, the Fed has to balance between printing money and also making sure that unemployment stays low. And so if we really shock this economy, which we're so over leveraged, the tiniest amount of tapering, it's going to hit hard. We haven't even tapered, and the market has already been pricing it in and freaked out with no tapering. We still have inflation coming through. We still have tons of bonds being bought by the Fed. It's pretty insane. And so we haven't even had any tapering yet, and the market's dumped like 20%. Bitcoin dumped like 40%, right? So there is a real situation for the markets to crash if they don't ease on tapering, if they stay as aggressive as they want to. And tensions continue to rise and this war spreads. Right now, this is something also worth mentioning. I'm trying to cover all the narratives and the situations. This isn't a video saying that we're going to go up or down. I want to give basically both cases and what might be more likely and probable. But you need to have both in mind, because this is not a market that is absolute. It's constantly in flux and flow. There's so much information coming in. You also need to be impartial to both situations and understand like what would validate X and what would invalidate X. It's a much better way of looking at the market instead of like, are we bearish or bullish? You know, do I buy or do I sell now? That's up for you to figure out. I'm just going to present the information that I've been finding. So we'll take a look at this All In podcast. It's a phenomenal podcast with no leaders equals no war. Some truth to there. Truth to that, eh? If there was a world war on the horizon, crypto will definitely not be a go-to store of safe value. If there is a world war, potential internet power outages. Precisely, yeah. Cyber attacks. That is something absolutely worth considering, and we need to actually discuss this now. Of like, could this war spread? Is this similar to 2014, where it's kind of just like, yes, Putin is the aggressor here. He has invaded. Well, he euphemized his invasion, right? He said, I'm just declaring them independent states and I'm going to, peacekeep. It's funny how, I mean, it's not funny. I'm not laughing. I'm not trying to like make fun of that, but it's comical and stupid how these people euphemize and try to downplay what they're doing when it's like, dude, you're going to war, you're invading. You know what I mean? It's sad, but let's take a look at what these fellow gentlemen, the All In podcast. If you're not watching this, then you're really doing yourself a disservice. It's an amazing podcast. It's like Goldman Sachs. What's his name? Not Shyamalan. Basically, a bunch of billionaires and people who know a lot more than us speculating and discussing what's going on.
Okay, so in response to that, I have to quote what Barack Obama said, and we've mentioned this on a previous pod. He said, the fact is that Ukraine, this is back in the Atlantic interview he gave, the fact is that Ukraine, which is a non-NATO country, is going to be vulnerable to military domination by Russia no matter what we do. This is an example where we have to be very clear about what our core interests are and what we are willing to go to war for. The fact of the matter is, none of us on this pod want to send our sons and daughters to go fight and risk their lives and die to determine who rules the Donbass or even Ukraine. We sympathize with them. We may impose sanctions on their behalf. We may arm them militarily, but we are not willing to fight. And so therefore, us trying to lay down this law to Putin was a bluff, and he called our bluff. And the smart thing we can do right now is not to escalate. Mm-hmm. Look, we've already gone to the river. He's called, we basically try to barrel and bluff him at every street. We got to the river. He has now invaded. We're now in a showdown. What do you want to do now? You want to escalate this even more? The only way that we could make this worse is to precipitate a world war.
Now, if
our absolute priority right now should be to make sure that this war doesn't spread.
My prediction.
Exactly. I think that's the perfect take, as Sachs put it. Like, de-escalate. Do not let this explode. And as he mentioned, because Ukraine is not part of the NATO alliance, there's really nothing the U.S. can do. And if the U.S. were to do something very illogical and trying to amp things up, we could expect blood. We could expect a lot more blood. So that's the caveat here. There is a risk of things really getting worse. Could this be the pinnacle of, there's an invasion with these two independent states, and that kind of fizzles out, and the market kind of calms down. I hope this ends as fast as possible with as little with as little damage as possible. As long as I think the smart play would to just be protecting the NATO countries and just making sure that the war does not escalate into those NATO countries, because then essentially if things do escalate into these NATO countries, you screw with one of them, you screw with all of them. Then we're literally would be on the brink of a World War III. But I do think it does not look like Putin wants to do that, wants to invade a NATO alliance. It doesn't look like that. That's why he chose Ukraine. That's why he chose those independent states. You know, he's at an older point of his life. Maybe he's thinking about his legacy, and he's like, all right, did I try to, like, you know, reclaim Russia or expand Russia, or was I complacent? You know, maybe he's thinking about these power hungry moves. I don't know. These are just my thoughts, but I think that is a good point. There is a risk there. The U.S. needs to be smart, de-escalate, and really just kind of how you put it, let things happen, offer as much support as possible, de-escalate, and just let things play out and protect our NATO countries. Yeah, so there are tensions there. There's also a lot of tension going on with China in terms of, you know, is China going to invade Taiwan? There was you know, rumors going around of their jets flying around Taiwan. There has been no you know, conflict or anything as of yet, but there is speculation that an invasion on Taiwan could be imminent from China, mainly because Taiwan produces 92% of the semiconductors in the world, which is basically what powers like your computers, your phones. Like they're extremely, extremely important. They power so many gadgets, and owning Taiwan would be extremely important to China as a global power. So there's that narrative going on. We'll see. We don't know, but keep that in mind. Bear that in mind. Now, the Evergrande debt stuff, looks like it's actually just getting completely settled out. As you know, that there was a massive risk back in December that Evergrande was going to default on their debt. There was a lot of fear in the markets that they were about to crash super hard, and the economic growth had slowed down in China. But it looks like right now, from what we're seeing, this is back in December 2021, policymakers will start with conventional monetary and fiscal tools, such as cuts to bank reserve requirements and accelerated infrastructure spending. So just like 2008, just like all these other like debt crises and you know, recessions and whatnot, the response, bailout. And it looks like that's what China said they would do if they had to. All regions and agencies must take responsibility to uphold economic stability, actively introduce policies. Oh, sorry, let me share my screen. Actively introduce policies that can help stabilize the economy, and be conscious in imposing measures that will have a contractionary effect. So this was back in December. Now, here, 2022, they're extending their debt. The Evergrande update. So the Chinese housing market they've now expanded. The tech stocks have been falling recently, which has been like, the tech stocks globally have all been really getting crushed, even in China as well. Most major banks in the southern metropolis of Guangzhou, have cut mortgage rates for some home buyers, according to state media reports, as the Chinese authorities take further steps to prevent a worsening of a prolonged downturn in the real estate industry. So they're stepping in. And they're firing up that money printer. At least 7 leaders, including China's big 4 banks, have lowered their mortgage rates in the capital of Guangdong province by 20 basis points. That's a big deal, right? These are some big things. So they're stepping in. They're providing stimulus. They're providing more debt, renewed debt, to keep their economy pumping, to keep the economy growing. They do not want things to slow down. That's what's going on over there, right? So while the discussion of tapering is going on in the U.S., which now it seems like there's going to be a shift. Check this out. Let me find. Sorry, these charts are fascinating, but I want to show you this. Check this out.
What would you anticipate the next move being from the Fed in that case?
So this takes 50 basis points completely off the table. It takes the 8-9 hikes that a lot of people were talking about for this year off the table, and thankfully so, because you heard me say on your show that I didn't think the U.S. economy could accommodate and live with such slamming of the brakes of monetary policy. It means the Fed is going to have to be even more careful, and it's going to have to tolerate higher inflation. Nobody wanted to be here, but we were already far away from the world of first best in terms of monetary policy, and now we're going to get even further away. So we're going to have a very sort of unsatisfactory situation when it comes to inflation and when it comes to growth, unfortunately.
Mohammed, I've had very
So there you go. We have a lot of speculation that the narrative is flipping now. That there won't be as aggressive hikes, maybe still will be, but essentially what that means is there will be more money in the economy to go around. There will probably be more economic growth, and things might actually become more risk on. Whereas the past couple of months we've been totally risk off. We've been really freaking out. Bear market, Fed is tapering, everything's crashing. Where we're in for like another, what's it called? Another March 2020, right? Check out this chart. Or sorry, was it this one or this one? No, sorry, the SPX. Okay, so check this out. We're in for another. I have some interesting metrics I want to show you here. There's this the monthly. Okay, yeah, the monthly works. Okay, so there's this one really great tweet. Okay, so Sentiment Trader, in the 40 years since the inception of the S&P futures, there's only been 3 sessions when they opened more than 2% and fell to a 6-month low, and then they rallied up more, close up more than 1%. There was only 3 times where we're experiencing this drop, this low, 2002, 2008, and today, which is pretty nuts. If we look at the charts and what that means, I've marked those dates that this guy had mentioned, and we can see in the 2000s we were pretty much close to the bottom here. We'll extend this up. We were in 2002, we were pretty much close to the bottoms. In 08, roughly the same. We actually did wiggle a little bit lower after that point, but once again, like, it was quite clear that we were in this downtrend and nearing a bottom. And so once again, right here. So, is this the bottom for the S&P? I'm not sure. I think we could probably. I think we could go lower, and it just depends, right? This is why you need to know both sides. It depends on what's going on fundamentally, in my opinion. If war does get worse, if the Fed is like, you know what, nah, we're going to make sure we tighten. Inflation is bad. We got to tighten. So keep these things in mind. But they're in a really bad position right now where if they tighten, you're going to have so much civil unrest, literally so much civil unrest in the U.S., especially if Biden wants to stay in office. He has to do something that is like going to make the numbers look good. If he wants to remain in office, people really do care about that. The last impression you want is kind of looking like a goof with this foreign policy stuff, and then also crashing the market, crashing your own like American markets at the same time. They're really in a bad spot. They have to do something smart. I feel like personally, I'm more lenient, like 60% lenient to them pushing back the interest rate hikes or easing up on it, not being as aggressive, which would result in some sort of rally. We would actually see the markets maybe go green for maybe a month or two. But I do believe we are so over leveraged. The market is probably due for some sort of aggressive correction, maybe a little bit later, especially the stock market. Like, just look at this. Look at this. Like, you tell me, like, this is just ridiculous how we've just gone straight up since COVID. And that's important to note too, is people freak out about a crash, but every time we've crashed, what happens? The money printer just goes kablammy. They come out, they bail out, they need to make the economy grow again, and so they go stimulus heavy, and that's happened every time. In 08, in 2002, every single time. So who knows? There could be like that black swan, and the problem with the black swan is it's an unknown. It could crash us down back to the COVID levels. There would have to be something really bad for that to happen. I don't think that's likely. I think we're going to kind of wiggle. In this range, go up, maybe come back down, retest, go up, retest. Maybe we bottom up at some point in like the mid 3Ks, and then we just steadily, slowly continue growing up. But I mean, hell, what do I know? That's just my opinion. So yeah, it's important to know what's going on in the stock market, especially with the NASDAQ, as Bitcoin is just correlating aggressively to what these markets are doing. All right. So a couple other things we should look at. Check this out. This is a chart showing the events that happened. So a lot of crises and wars that had occurred, whether they're like the 9/11 attacks, flash crashes, invasions, the Iraq Gulf Wars, all of that. So it shows the number of days, the events, number of days to hit the lows in the markets, and the percentage change, right? So it varies. Some of them went as steep as like a 33% down move. Some not as much, 14, 17%. The average was about 11%. And 3 months later, the markets completely recovered, engulfing all that negative down momentum. And actually, 6 months after that, we found it actually grew. And a year later, it's completely grown out of it if we just account for these averages, which is which is pretty interesting. History isn't always going to act the same, but it tends to rhyme. I don't see why things would be any different here. We also have another chart showing called by the invasion, showing the invasion of the Vietnam War. At the date we invaded, we had a correction, rose out of it. The Gulf War, market dipped, rose out of it. The Afghan War, market dipped, rose out. Looks like we went even lower later, but we did have that bounce. Every time we had these invasions, the market bounced. So this is also something, to keep in mind. 5 out of 5 times previously, there was always a bounce. Sell the buildup, buy the invasion as markets bottom just before guns are fired. That's looks like an an interesting thesis. It's always darkest. It's always darkest. And your wife moves in with another man before dawn. Hodl. Wise words from Becker. Let me just see here. It's hard believing that anything is projected by the news on terrestrial TV. Example, a recession is created by word of mouth. Bad news travels much faster than good news. I know. Yep. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. And, people always become an expert bear once they sold the bottom. When the whole market sentiment becomes negative, you need to be wary and make sure that you're not the people who are just being flown around and flocked. One thing I need to mention as well, guys, be wary of liquidity and keep in mind that Bitcoin is heavily leveraged. People are coming into crypto doing 100x trading, right? So since this top here, since our little local toppy top here, right over here, got everyone being like, we're going to 100K, buy, right? And then we crash down. People are saying, buy the dip, sell at the bottom. No, start selling here and go short. Sell right here, okay? Sell it all here. So, be mindful. When people are all greedy, the people who are smart were the ones selling at the top, at the local top there. How do I move this? You don't want to be the person who moves last because that's how you get shit on. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. So there's a lot of liquidity here from people shorting. A lot of people are shorting, and if they're not closing these shorts, right? Because the way that works, shorting means you bet against the market. You go to an exchange, you go to a market maker, and you're like, yo, I have this amount of money. Let me borrow some Bitcoin. Let me borrow your Bitcoin, sell it on the market right now. I'll buy it back for you cheaper, and I'll keep the extra money from that. So people have been shorting on the way down, and now people are also shorting in these ranges, albeit also people longing as well. There's always going to be a bit of both, but there's so much liquidity of people who have short here, right? And there's a lot of incentive for the market maker, which is the market maker is essentially the person or the entity that makes margin trading possible and allows you to just essentially buy in at any price that's convenient because they're also pitching in their own liquidity. I know it's a little complicated. You don't need to wrap your whole head around this. But the point is there's a lot of shorts just waiting to be liquidated here. We could be in a situation to get a short squeeze. And now we just got a little spinning top candle, which could indicate a reversal. Could. Once again, you need to see how price moves from here, how things go, and we need to keep an eye on the markets and what the narrative is. If things are shifting positive rapidly, be weary at the same time. Are we just getting a spike up to kind of throw us off our foot? to then have the market come down and set in a new low. What we do know is we have a higher low, right? Compared to the lows back in May. We've been in this range, just literally just range trading. And so we might just range trade here for a while. Who knows? I have no idea. I'm not a genie. But my speculation is we're going to have some up movement, probably a 60% chance we go up. We might crack the 50K level. That's why I have this blue zone. Hover around the 50Ks and then kind of wiggle around here and possibly retrace back down. Because eventually we need to tackle this inflation and have that dealt with. All right. That was a lot. I know that was a lot. A little whale just buys some francs. What did he say? He's just a puppet reading off the teleprompter. Yeah. Now, the good news with Bitcoin, I think we'll see Bitcoin decouple from these markets and fiscal policy as we have more adoption. We just need to have more adoption. As people adopt it and use crypto, it doesn't actually matter that much what's going on with fiscal policy because there's just we're still lacking so many of retail and a lot of institutional people in this space. You know, we need like 100 Michael Saylors or like 1,000 Michael Saylors. We need tons of companies putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet. We need more people getting into crypto and getting onboarded through innovative apps like what we may have coming with blockchain gaming. Once those things start coming together, it doesn't really matter if we get interest rate hikes or not. We're just going to go up. You know, we're just going to go up. So there's a lot of good still, even with all this chaos for crypto. We have unprecedented amount of attention. We had the Coinbase and on these exchanges putting out ads, the Super Bowl ads. Go and check those out. They're pretty damn good. We're at a point where we just have so much adoption happening at the highest rate it's ever been, faster than the internet back in the 90s. So that's super, super important. And don't be surprised. Like the one thing that Bitcoin has always been known to do is the face melter. When people are doubting it and it's like, oh, it's garbage. Look what it does, right? It melts your face. Sorry, let me bring it back. It melts your face. The moment you think it's done, it just comes out of the woodwork and just destroys. So that is in the books. And the rules could be completely broken with all this fiscal policy and all that other stuff. As the network effect continues to go on and more adoption comes through, Bitcoin can just pierce through all of that and the crypto space as a whole and just explode to levels that we've never seen before and reach new all-time highs and all that good jazz that can come. That's just what comes with adoption as you get more users and people buying and people holding, right? But till then, it's going to be a bit of a tug of war, and it's going to be challenging. So, you know, take time to just get off the computers. It's not healthy to check the prices every single day. The markets are unpredictable. No matter how long you look at the charts, it's not going to change the price. Okay. You have to learn how to also be detached and take care of yourself, because like there isn't an ROI at studying, like staring at the market all day long. Like there is value in knowing what's going on and trying to make your own bets for sure. But don't lose, don't get a ton of gray hairs like me over this. It's just not good for your mental health. And it's probably better for you to kind of just set it and forget it during these crazy times. Go take a vacay, just be with your family, cherish them, spend some quality time with yourself, get into the nature, tend to your, spirituality, all that good jazz. That's personally what I've been trying to do outside of work, not just getting too lost. There's so much noise, right? We had the pandemic. All right, it's coming to an end. We need a new target to keep people like stuck up on something and get them caught up on something. All right, it's time for war. There's always something going on. So be wary, right? Be wary. Guard your eyes. Guard your mind. All right, a lot of info here. NFTs, we forever be here. Community is too large, and exactly right. NFTs are already playing a massive part in adoption and will continue to, because it's so much easier to understand like an NFT than it is to understand like Bitcoin. You really got to be into finance or be finance savvy to some degree versus a JPEG. It's like, oh, it looks cool. Oh, I'm part of this community. oh, like it has this particular utility. You know, there's all that, and it's a lot more grassroots. It's a lot more low hanging fruit. It's a language people understand, you know, especially on a mass level. And people, yeah, so there's this concern, power going out. And this is what people don't understand. Like, even if power went out, let's say the power went out with a week, your crypto, your JPEGs would not disappear. Okay. When you plug a USB into your computer and you put files on it and you unplug it, does all the files go away because it's not charged anymore? It's not actively in the computer? No. You know, I've had USB for 5 years and the data is still on there. That's not how it works. It's just encrypted. Now, if we had a power outage that lasted for a very long time, technically, yes, you wouldn't be able to access your crypto. But then, you know, if you're also betting on the internet, anything power related would get destroyed. I feel like crypto is the ultimate leverage bet on electricity and the internet. So it's not even an issue. If you had a power outage, it goes away, your crypto's safe, it's fine, and then the power comes back right back to normal. You should just be concerned with keeping your keys safe. Keep your keys safe. Don't get hacked. That's a higher risk than a power outage, believe it or not. Just had to make that clear. I remember talking to some buddies of mine. They're like, what if the electricity goes out? I'm just like, you really think the world has become so dependent on the internet and electricity. You think they're just going to snap their fingers and just make it all go away? I think that's very unlikely. Highly unlikely. All right, a bit more news I want to take you guys through. A little bit more news here, and then we'll get into some giveaways. What? We're going to give away some Frankenpunks. What? Getting some giveaways. All right, so Travis Kling said the crypto market's in a really weird spot, acting as a risk asset and going down on tightening fears while governments around the world act as a massive billboard for why decentralization matters. The trucker convoy. The former will pass. The latter is a multi-decade trend. So do not be too concerned in the short term. Mid to short term here, yes, it might be in for some up momentum, then down momentum, and up momentum, and down momentum, and maybe further down momentum. The reality is, in the long run, we're set. There's just so many reasons and concerns to, like he mentioned, the governments around the world have become a billboard for why we need decentralization. And that is a multi-decade, meaning 10, 20, 30, 40-year trend that we're going to see play out over and over. And that narrative will cement itself year after year after year, proving the necessity to have our own ledgers, our own custodians to interact with our crypto peer-to-peer, all that good jazz. So once again, zoom out when you're freaking out. Zoom out. Are you here for a month or are you here for 5 years? You know, keep that in mind. A lot of people who've made a killing in crypto, actually took them a very long time. BitBoy Crypto took him like 9 years. Ran from Crypto Banter took him like 5 or 7 years. Like, it takes these people a long time to hit 8 figures. Don't expect like to become filthy rich in a year or two, like a Shiba Inu billionaire. That's very few. That's far and in between. That's just like the people who become celebrities overnight because their dad set them up with this is that, and they're like this 19-year-old mega celeb. It's a rarity. It's most likely not going to happen to me or you. So strap in, play the long game, do the work, build your bag up. You know, don't overinvest in things. Try your hardest to invest in qualities. Put a small amount of your portfolio in really risky stuff. And that goes for NFTs, probably the riskiest stuff out there. You know, be careful. Protect your bag, man. No one's going to protect it for you. This just in, a legislature in Utah introduces a bill to allow the state to accept Bitcoin, baby, as payment for taxes. How awesome is that? Very, very cool stuff. We're seeing these things unfold in the U.S. BlockFi also paid like $100 million to the SEC to settle something, and now they're good on a compliance standpoint. So a lot of good things are unfolding in the U.S. for crypto. Kevin O'Leary says crypto is going to become the 12th sector of the S&P in the next couple of years. S&P has 11 sectors, S&P 500. Kevin O'Leary says it will become the 12th sector. As of right now, if you look at the top assets by market cap, gold now being, number one, off with a $12 trillion market cap. Bitcoin is not that far behind. It's in the top 10, sitting at number 9, which is pretty insane, with Ethereum chilling down here at 32, which is nuts, right? And to say that this will become the 12th sector, we can expect a lot of other coins jump into these, $100 billion levels. I really do believe Kevin's spot on. It will become the 12th sector, and a lot of these Bitcoin bulls view Bitcoin as a vacuum, as a black hole. It's just going to rise to the top, and it's going to decimate gold because it's superior to gold, right? And that's probably a video of its own, and why Bitcoin is superior. So yeah, very cool stuff. Very cool stuff happening. All right, one little tidbit I want to show you here on what these guys think on the All In podcast, what they think what's going to happen in the market here.
Today, the market went down 5-6% on the news and then rebounded. Is this all priced in? And is this the bottom of the market? Kathy Wood is supposedly buying, and I don't know if it's net buying or she's just reallocating, but are we now in the bargain hunting period of the market and we've bottomed out?
The smart folks that I talk to, who I really, look up to and respect, think that the bottom in the S&P is around 3,800, and that what we still need to do is this one last flush, and that last flush will really touch the big cap companies, but that growth is largely done, sort of getting taken to the woodshed. So in general, I think that, so generally buyers of growth now, sellers of value, and waiting for this one last 400-point move down the S&P, and I think people think it's roughly the bottom. Now, if there's a world war, obviously, who knows, all bets are off, but
So, Sachs, what's more shocking, that we're almost at the bottom, or there's people in the markets that Chamath really respects? Which is
well, speaking of people that we respect, so I think Brad Gerstner has a really interesting take on this, which is that.
Well, sorry, I should also be clear that I'm recruiting this one person who I really respect. He knows who he is.
So they're poachable. Got it.
Yeah.
So Brad Gerstner has published a couple of charts showing basically multiples in the Internet Index and among SaaS companies over the last, dozen years or so. And what you can see is that over the last 2 years during COVID, there was a huge spike in multiples for Internet companies and for SaaS companies. And that over the last, really since November, the last 3-4 months, has now come down. And as of, I would say, last week, it was right at about the historical trend, and now it's starting to go under the historical trend. So from a bargain hunting standpoint, you'd have to say that this is the first time that we've been below the average for a few years. Now, that's not to say it can't go down even more, because in the same way that you can be above trend, you can also be below trend. And if this war escalates and metastasizes, it will go down more. But if this conflict can stay localized and the economy doesn't go into a recession because of everything that's happened, then yes, this might be bargain hunting.
Here's the chart for everybody to take a look at from January 20.
So it looks like we're entering that zone where dollar cost averaging might make sense. This is not financial advice. This is just advice to myself. But yeah, it looks like the bargain hunting zone has begun, where it's like, okay, we're probably near the bottom. We might wiggle down a bit more for a month. We might bleed a bit more. Calling bottoms are so hard. It's just as hard as calling a top. So personally, I'm not trying to be an Einstein. I don't care about calling it perfectly. I would much rather just that's kind of my method. I just buy over time in areas that I think are good deals, and I don't worry about being perfect. I think that's probably the best long-term method, what I'm personally doing. But yeah, what Chamath was saying, that he believes there's going to be one final flush out to the 3,800 levels on the S&P. What that would essentially mean is we would go down on the S&P another 10 or 11%, and another 10 or 11% might mean a 30% drop from Bitcoin where it currently is at, if we do get this final flush. So a drop on Bitcoin, a 10% drop in S&P is going to be multiplied for BTC. So we could see BTC probably come down to test the May lows. If not that, maybe even come down into these 20 areas. These two zones I have right here. You can see the can I make this wider? The zones that I have over here between the previous low and then the previous all-time high in 2017. Bitcoin might actually wiggle in this area, and this might be the bargain. This might be the super bargain. But there's no telling it might actually happen. Remember, when we were rallying back in autumn, a lot of people were like waiting for Bitcoin to crash to get in. They're like, oh no, it's going to go down. And then, oh, it goes up again. Oh, just short it. It's going to go down. It goes up again. Oh, just short it. It's going to goes up again. BTC is volatile to the upside more so than the downside, even though the down movements suck and are steep and hurt. So yes, there's a good chance we could crack these levels and even go a little bit below, maybe to the 17K, depending on how bad war gets. However, if things start to clear up, if this invasion starts to kind of conclude and we don't have, we gain a little bit more certainty and the interest rate hikes ease up a bit, I would expect us to actually rally up before we come back and perhaps test these levels. And if we do continue to get huge surges and a bunch of green flags with adoption, more institutional buyers, then we might actually, this could be the bottom. We could have actually had the bottom at the 33K level, which is really good because we technically put in a higher high from the May dumps back in the summer. So I'm leaning like 60% bullish right now. I still do have concerns for that bear, and that can change depending on what happens on the the timeline, the world stage. We'll have to just see. But that essentially wraps up our show. That essentially wraps up our show on what's been going on the past week and what I think about the market. You know what I'm saying? What I think about the market. Let's get hold up. Let me just get some tunes going and talk to you guys. Lovely. Bro, chill. Giveaway is coming. Strategy is important, exactly. All it takes is 3% of global investment assets for 1 million Bitcoin to become a thing. There you go. Happy you guys like the show. Yeah, shall we get to these giveaways now? For everybody who's 1 second. Give me a second. All right, everybody who's here, just drop a comment, any comment, so the giveaway can just register your username, and then we'll pick 2 winners for some Frankenpunk NFTs. Actually, yeah, just drop a comment, please. We have 56 people here. Also, smash up the likes for extra bonus luck. Get that bonus luck. Let's go to Tar. Tomorrow is going to be the NFT show. I've got a great show packed tomorrow as well, and we're going to talk just more, more NFT related things. I basically just want to provide the things that I enjoy watching in the space. I think content, I watch crypto content all day long. I'm scrolling through Twitter often. So I figured why not give that to y'all and make something that I would like to watch, and just aggregate all the information here for you to make your life easier, because we're all degens, like we're all crypto heavy. I'm sure most of y'all portfolios are crypto dominant, so you care about what's going on. You want to know if there's opportunities that you can make use of and all that good jazz. All right, let's get into these giveaways, shall we? Let's get into the giveaway. Let's see who's gonna win. Who's gonna win some Frankenpunks, baby? Okay, I'm gonna do 3. We'll pick 3 because y'all have been amazing. I appreciate the love. Appreciate everybody. We're gonna give away 3 NFTs. Alrighty, y'all ready? I need to get some hype music. Hold up. Can I? Is this sharing my music? Let me just check something. Can I just drag and drop like this? Can you guys hear that? Let me know if you hear this. She's staying on my ETH. All right. Alrighty. Shall we pick our first winner? Let's go. Who's gonna get it? Who's gonna get it? Who's gonna get it? Logan Joliffe. Congratulations. You just won a Frankenpunk NFT, my guy. Go ahead and drop your Discord ID in the YouTube chat. I will favorite it and add you, and we'll get you taken care of. Want no apes. I don't want no Fidenza. Okay, I'm just going to grab water, and we'll get on with the next winner. Logan. Very nice. Awesome. Let me favorite your comment. Got you logged. Oh, it flew away. Beauty. Alrighty, next winner. Seven Samurai. Congratulations. You are our second winner. You just won a Frankenpunk. Seven Samurai. Drop your Discord ID. Yeah, it includes all our users, whether you're Arabic name or not. Don't worry. Is Samurai with us here? Oh yes, he is. Let's go. What is your Discord's Samurai? Okay, Diamond Dog, I got you. Yeah, Tulip, you saw your name there for a second too, right? I'm just waiting for... Okay, there we go. Awesome. All right, I got Samurai. All right, last winner. Hold up. Let's get a hype song for it. Last winner. Play this. Alrighty. Ready for the last one? Let's go.
No doubt we about to break the game. No doubt. Frankenpunks they going crazy. No doubt. We don't
Daniel DePaula. No doubt. Going crazy with it.
Greedy going crazy.
Daniel DePaula. Is Daniel here with us? You have to claim it. If he's not here, I'm going to re-roll. Daniel, you here with us? Yes, he is. Congratulations. You just won a Frankenpunk. Nin, very scary. Bull run coming back like it's January. 1,000 francs in my wallet. You can't eat the scammy. All right, let's go, man. Beauty. You will win it one day. I'm telling you, these are the best odds in the world. Awesome. Drop your Discord ID, please, Sir Daniel. Daniel DePaula. Let me scroll up here. From Brazil, my guy. Love from Brazil. Happy days. Awesome. Microwave, gotcha. All right. Got all the winners' IDs. I'll be DMing you, getting you guys suited up, getting those ETH addresses so we can ship you your NFTs. Okay. It's going to be a surprise. The boys, the team is going to just sweep the floor up, and we're going to be giving out NFTs on a regular. Love it. Looks like you guys really enjoyed this stream. I'm really pumped. This is my first really specialized stream. Before it was really like broad, but I like these specialized streams more because there's a lot to offer in each subject, and there's so much going on. So appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like this video, please. If there's anything you could do for me right now, smash that aggressively. You know, when you smash that, it just helps the project get more reach, you know, drop some comments on this afterwards. Just helps us get more organic reach, bring more people in, understand the Franken fam, get with the vibe, and just bring in more people, you know. Love the stream, yo. First one I've joined. Hey, thank you, Kai. Appreciate it. Yeah. And this background, 3D Punks made this. It's super sick. It's a badass. I'm in the little swamp, you know. We out here in the Franken swamp. Chris Regan. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Love you guys. Awesome. All right. I got our winners here. Lovely. 3D Punks is the GOAT. Don't worry, we'll do more. I'll have more giveaways tomorrow, guys. More giveaways tomorrow. Tune back tomorrow. It's going to be Saturday at, what was it, 9 p.m. Eastern? I said the time was 9 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, people who've won, I'm going to add you on Discord. Don't worry. Awesome. All right. Everybody take care. I'll see you tomorrow on the NFT stream. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you very much. Have yourselves an amazing Friday. All right. Enjoy.